We got the Battle of the Valleys taking place this weekend at Leber Stadium. We got GVSU versus SVSU, a rivalry between two teams that don't like each other, but a rivalry with two teams going into with momentum. And that's why I'm super excited about this matchup because you look at how both of these teams started this year. GVSU started out with a better season. SVSU struggled at the beginning. You have two teams, though, coming into this game that is undefeated in conference play, 2-0, coming in with a two-game win streak. And you have a GVSU team that is number 7 in the country. And this is a GVSU team that has won at least the last 10 games against SVSU. It's been since 2012 since SVSU has won this game. GVSU has been dominating this rivalry when it comes to results. When I say results, that doesn't mean that they've been dominating the games, though. One really key factor about rivalries, especially this rivalry game, is just how close and how competitive this game is. Now, there's been years where GVSU has been dominant, but there's also been years like last year that was really close that SVSU is just waiting to get over the top. It's almost one of those rivalries that is just so competitive that it just takes that one time to truly get a win to kind of flip things. And I think that this SVSU team, with momentum going into this game, has a real possibility of doing that. Last year's game was a 16-9 win for GVSU. This is a GVSU team, like I mentioned, number 7 in the country. This is a GVSU team that's averaging 35 points a game. They're only giving up 16 points defensively. This is an SVSU team that is averaging just about the same amount of points, but giving up 27 points per game. So if you really have to look at just this matchup overall, especially with it being at GVSU, I feel like you have to just look at the bigger picture, but you also have to look at what you've seen this year. While SVSU is going into this game with more momentum, with playing better defense, with the offense getting going, especially with Mason McKenzie getting a little bit going back to what he was of old, you have to look at what this defense has done compared to GVSU. GVSU, while they haven't been great defensively in every single game, they've been a lot better than what this SVSU defense has been. Now, obviously, the last couple games for SVSU, they've been much better defensively. I think they're going to come in with a ton of confidence. But going into Leber Stadium, that is not an easy place to win. Now, SVSU has really gotten close. This is going to be a game that's going to be really close. This is going to be a very physical game. This is a game that SVSU could very well win. And if you do win, then there could be a huge conversation about what is this SVSU team going to do in the GLIAC. Because if you look at the records right now, you see a path for GVSU to at least get to the playoffs and win the GLIAC. If SVSU wants to do that, they need to get this win. And I feel like there's key contributors on both sides that you truly have to pay attention to. You really have to watch out for. And I feel like one of those players is obviously Mason McKenzie for SVSU. When Mason McKenzie is going and really performing the way he has been in the past, this SVSU offense is going to be one that's really going to truly be hard to stop. And it truly starts with not only his legs, but being able to get Terrence Brown Jr. involved, not only on the ground, but in the air. He's a guy that is a big playmaker for this SVSU team. You also have to get Braden Hill a little bit involved, Zarek Zielinski, Eric Kraft. You have to get these guys involved. You have to get the ball in their hands. When SVSU can protect Mason McKenzie and they can get the ball to their playmakers, this is an offense that has done a good enough job of being able to put up points. And it's truly going to be dependent on what this defense can do for SVSU, because there's been points where SVSU has went down pretty big throughout this year, and this offense has found a way to fight their way back into the game. Now, there's been times where they fell short every single time, but this offense is good enough to be able to put up points. And it's truly going to be about what is this SVSU defense going to do against this Grand Valley State team that is averaging 35 points a game, because this is a Grand Valley State team led by Andrew Schuster that has been great this year. It hasn't been only him, though. Brady Drogash, I've talked a lot about him. He's going to be a guy that you're truly going to have to keep an eye on for. Truly seems like GVSU is kind of trying to adapt a little bit of what Ferris has done in the past, kind of like a two-quarterback system, one that is more of a runner, one that is more of a passer. Brady Drogas is the second leading rusher for GVSU. You also have a guy in Sion Usma Harper, first leading rusher. Derek Woods got involved a little bit more in their last game against Northern Michigan. And that is not only it. They like to throw the ball as well. This GVSU team like to get the ball to Kellen Reed. They like to get the ball to Lynn Welchiel. They like to get the guy Sean Bird involved. This is an offense for GVSU. Not only do they average 35 points a game, but they average 228 yards through the air, 138 yards on the ground. This is a GVSU attack that's going to be primarily through the air. Now, they have been able to run the ball, and that's going to be truly the biggest difference between these two teams, because if you look at offensively what SVSU has done, this offense for SVSU is a lot more balanced. Now, it does come with Mason McKenzie using his legs, obviously, but this is a team that averages 228 yards on the ground, 208 yards through the air. They're very well balanced, and that's going to be an interesting factor going into this game, because if you're able to stop GVSU from throwing the ball, if you force them to run the ball and SVSU can get either one of these games going, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens offensively. We've seen GVSU offensively step up, especially in the second half. They did that against Northern Michigan. It might take GVSU a little while to get going. But you can say the same thing for SVSU as well. Like, this could be a tied game or a very low-scoring game heading into the second half, and then both of these offenses go off. You never exactly know what type of performance, you never exactly know what type of team is going to step up between both of these squads, and that's a reason why I'm so excited, is because these squads have so much talent on offense, so much talent on defense. But it's not only that, but it's a rivalry. You never know exactly what's going to happen in a rivalry game. You're going to have two teams that are very well motivated, two teams that don't necessarily like each other, going up at Leber Stadium. And you got a team in SVSU looking for their first win in over 10 years. You have a motivated squad that is coming off of a difficult start that I talked about, that's getting a little bit more motivation, playing a little bit better, going up against a top 10 team in the country. And when you're in those situations, it can get really dangerous. It can get really interesting. Now, if this game was at SVSU, I would actually probably pick SVSU to win, because I think SVSU is playing that well right now, and it's really hard to go into a team stadium in the GLIAC and win. But it's not. And because of that, I'm going to make it a really close competitive game. I do think GVSU does end up winning this game, but I think it's going to be a one-possession game at the end of it, because I think this is a rivalry game that is meant to be really competitive. It's a rivalry game that is meant to be really close, and you have two offenses that can put up points. It's going to be a really fun game, but I could very much see it being a very defensive battle as well. And it's going to be about which defenses get stops, which defenses force turnovers, and if you get out to a big lead, can the other team respond? We've seen the other team respond, but is it going to be too much if that does happen, especially with the talent that both of these squads have? So really excited, really interesting to watch this matchup. I'm definitely going to be recapping it, definitely keeping an eye on for it. But yeah, good luck to both of these teams. It's going to be a fun rivalry, and obviously really excited to cover as well. So if you like this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, make sure to share the content, share the page, all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate anyone that does that. And I will talk a little bit more about this game later this week or early next week.